The coolest part of your presentation to me was in talking about the storage eras. Today is 2019. Using antiquated file systems that we used on our old 486 machines when we had 150 megabytes of storage doesn't seem to make sense. Can you tell us about some examples of tangible business downsides that result from a folder storage system?
Yeah. So, I was talking about that monolithic project-based folder structures, right? So, I have a company, won't name them, that I don't work for, but I've actually seen their situation, and they were acquired, and they had been building content for years. I guess they'd probably about 10 years of content, and they were doing these package shows, and I'm going to say they probably have done 400 episodes, something like that. And along the way, their archive strategy was they had a tape archive, but they would then take off of their SAN and move everything off to discs. So their main copy that was found was on a disc. They had accumulated probably 150 discs. They were acquired, and the company wanted to audit and wanted everything to go to the cloud. And they ended up actually having to lie to the company to get the deal done. And we won't mention them, but I've seen actually people whose acquisition deals would not have gone down. They were able then to scramble and spend a bunch of money to put people to pull all that out. But it's something that had they spent, it literally had someone just either set things up differently from the front or spent 10 minutes after the production, it could have fixed it. That 10 minutes though, as we all know, you don't get that 10 minutes, man. That 10 minutes often doesn't ever happen. So you just are like digital media debting over the years, and someday that comes due. So I really try to get people on the front end to do that. And then the fact that you're starting to limit, if you're not virtualizing your storage with your bin structure and really thinking in a different way, you're limiting what you can do, especially if you work in a collaborative environment. So really there's so many downsides, but business-wise, the acquisition story that I tell there, it really happens around that. Acquisitions, or it also happens in reorgs. You've got to get rid of a third of your storage. What are you going to do? Man, being able to know that everything you're throwing away is worthless and nothing is valuable is a big deal. So those are the two big things you think about. Just like I said, the needs of the organization versus the needs of the production. Yeah.
So what's the easiest way to bring an organization along from that antiquated state to the future state? You mentioned in your presentation about unwittingly having editors
tricking people.
File structure.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about that and give a couple of tips for people who are just starting out on this journey.
It's easier if you have assistant editors. I'll give you one of my favorite quotes. I obviously in my career I've talked to a lot of assistant editors. I always say that you can bring in a good editor to fix a bad editor's work, but no editor can fix a bad assistant editor's work. The assistant editor laying out the structures. So if you have a situation where someone else is ingesting and you're preparing, if you're blessed to have that process, they can literally prepare the projects, because once you're virtualized into the bin structure, people always, when you're thinking about an asset management system, what we're really doing is virtualizing organization from storage. You can do that we've already been doing it with nonlinear editors for years. Your NLE, your bin structure, has nothing to do with your folders. So if your folders are laid out to match your bins, you're really missing an opportunity. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing is that, I didn't come to sell DAM, but having automation and a DAM can help, because there's a gentleman here and his editors don't know what we do with the masters after they drop them. They have an export folder, they drop them there, they get picked up and organized, they get archived, everything happens automatically without the editors knowing. So I think if you show people how it works and the convenience of it, they will get beyond it. But they've got to let go of that file system. We saw it with Apple. Final Cut 10 tried to do that and people freaked out. They tried to do a metadata-based, organizational system, and they sort of had to backtrack. Storage is going that way. I hope people can do it. Like you said, it's an old system. Helps humans feel good, but it really isn't efficient for work. So, yeah, probably it.
That's just gold. Sorry.
Thanks, man. No, thanks, man.
I'm a little overwhelmed. I got the papers. Do you guys have anything else?
Just one thing.
Yeah. We should talk a little bit about storage scale. You should get that in a little bit about the speed thing.
Okay. Yeah, just go ahead and do that, and then we want to make sure before you go that we get who you are, company.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll tag that on there.
Intro.
I'll intro that. Yeah.
So we say the thing about storage speed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll repeat it back. So, I'm Bryson Jones. I'm the co-founder of North Shore Automation. I've been a dam specialist for the past 11 years, and I have about a 20-some-odd year history in post-production and post-storage. So, talking today, especially being here in ScaleLogic with ScaleLogic at NAB, one of the things that I talk to a lot of people about is they're in their minds a lot of times when you're talking about virtualizing storage and doing a more creative file system, is they're really worried, especially when you're talking about collaboration. You're talking about building that library of source media that maybe multiple people would work from. Well, people have this kind of like late 90s mentality, well, oh, the storage won't be fast enough. And we just say to them, well, make sure you buy storage that's fast enough. That's not a problem in 2019. And so if you rethink kind of scale and speed of storage, you can start to look at this library methodology that we've been talking about today in a very different way, because you're no longer worried that maybe someone else might play the video and your SAN or NAS will choke. So it's something that's important to think about. You may be thinking about a sort of a specific stream count, but today's modern storage is pretty crazy flexible. The other thing is that a lot of people are really worried about taking media off of the storage. As long as your system is laid out well, you can actually send stuff to archive and bring it right back. But that file system, that path is forever. Maybe it goes to tape or to object or to the cloud, but it comes right back where it was. And what we're really doing is preparing for a day when we all literally have petabytes. That day's coming. It's getting faster, cheaper all the time. So I envision a day when everyone has pretty much everything, or at least several years worth of media online spinning at all times. And you can right now sort of start to approach that by using a creative archive strategy. But a lot of our customers are keeping 2-3 years of media online available, and that's when the library kicks in, because a year from now, if you're in sports, you know where that highlight is. A year from now, you know where those masters are, all that stuff. So yeah.